We're going on a journey to Sabah, on the northern tip of an island literally bigger than Texas, larger than Thailand, Vietnam, Germany, or Spain. You can fit 3 Great Britons into Borneo and still have some left over. On this return journey, we'll travel from Sabah's capital, Kota Kinabalu, over one of the highest peaks in Southeast Asia, to once again visit Dr. Wong Siu Ti, the sun bear's advocate and guardian. From there, we'll travel up the mighty Kinabatangan River to meet a new generation of young scientists racing against time to save this fragile land of pygmies and giants. Vast, self-contained, fragile, mighty. Borneo is unique and best compared to Australia's Great Barrier Reef, rather than another great tropical rainforest. An island where centipedes have evolved into giants and elephants to pygmies. Home to long-nosed monkeys, the world's tallest species of tropical tree, and the smallest bears on the planet. Kota Kinabalu, KK, is a capital city bursting at the seams with new construction, big plans, and overseas investment. But the remnants of old Asia and the local water villages are still in full swing across the bay. To understand the coastal peoples on the great archipelagos of Southeast Asia, you need to understand the importance of sea, family, religion, and color. Everything, everyone, everywhere, every hue and variation, color reigns supreme. We're back in Sabah to continue filming. We also have unfinished business here. Last time we left with the unfulfilled hope of witnessing the rarest of sights, a sun bear climbing high inside the canopy. We plan to set that right. First thing in the morning, we're urging a little rental car over the highlands to the other side of the island. We start to climb the Crocker Range almost as soon as we leave KK. Considering how many things are out to get you, the most dangerous thing in Borneo is the highway. Suddenly, the weather reverses from steamy heat and rain to steamy rain and cold. A misty world here. In behind the mist lay more plant species than in all Europe's nations, from its Scandinavian north to the Mediterranean south. But as if shining a light on your subject causes it to vanish, the conundrum throughout Borneo has often been the moment we discover a new species exists coincides with the very moment we cause its destruction. At the top of the range stands 4,000 plus meters of Mount Kinabalu, a UNESCO World Heritage Area. It's almost an island within an island. But outside that boundary is a very different story. From superabundance to a species of one. By the time we finish our story on Wong's quest to save the sun bears, we would have been filming and studying Sabah for over a decade. Cities grow, forests retreat. On this side of the mountain, we see trucks and palm oil every step of our way. People here want education, roads, medicine. There is no simple fix. That's where research and people like Wong come in. We'll be headed 90 k's up the Kinabatangan River. But first stop is Sepilok, just outside Sandakan. We're keen to see how the second stage of Wong's dream is coming along, the opening of his new sun bear sanctuary to the public. And hopefully finally get to see one of these tree-loving bears actually climb into a tree.
So this is a big project.
Our online friendship with Wong began at a pivotal moment in his 10-year dream. And soon after, we joined him, freeing 12 bears from a lifetime of imprisonment to a free life in a protected forest.
Nobody knows about sun bears. There's lots of orangutan, polar bear, pandas. A picture of a sun bear is just not out there. Sun bear sure will climb this kind of tree and then roost on the big branch on top of the tree. They are just like pygmies. This is what sun bears do in the wild.
It's a huge possibility that we will see a bear on this tree.
Absolutely.
This very tree.
Absolutely. This very tree. So in the future, when we open, the public will come from this trail. There's so many things that we can tell the visitors. So it'll be an educational pathway where people walk to see the bears, and then along the way they can learn about rainforests.
It's great to hear the insect sounds again.
Yeah.
3 years ago, we all believed, once freed, we'd witness the bear scamper into the forest and climb the nearest tree. But that was not to be. The bears cowered in the safety of their new little world, their toes gripping the cage edge, terrified of the big bad forest.
Remember last time when we were here, after we opened the door, everybody imagined that the bear would run out right away and explore the forest, But all of this noise, the smells, everything for them is brand new.
Deforestation, poachers, pet trades, all threaten sun bears. But for Wong, the greatest threat of all is being the least known bear on Earth.
From here, right now entering the forest.
Unfortunately, things have ground to a halt. Funds have dried up, and it's proving hard to raise money to save a bear that no one's ever heard of.
On your left-hand side is the forest enclosure.
Wow. Oh, I see a bear.
Oh, yeah. You will start to see bears.
Oh my God.
One of the very bears we played a part in moving, now foraging freely among the trees.
So Audrey, here you go. I present you the Bornean sun bear.
A few years back, this would have been a sight witnessed by only a handful of jungle trackers. A sight Wong believes will finally break through and charm a disinterested public. Especially when they see these beautiful creatures climbing high into the canopy.
Oh, climb the tree.
We wouldn't mind being charmed ourselves, but so far they don't seem so inclined.
Wow. How amazing, huh? You can just walk here and see that. You out in the field for how many years?
6 years.
Altogether.
Altogether, it must be come and greet you. Hey, remember how difficult it is?
Oh, yeah.
Remember? I do. Tropical heat, tranquilizer darts, and a dozen very aggravated bears.
It's hot, it's sweaty.
Vòng bear.
Wow. Then they're gone, disappear, never see them again. Oops.
They're still moving their head. Suddenly my job was to take pictures of the canine. We've been helping out with bear processing. How wacky is that? Surya, which is, I think, my favorite. When we were taking pictures of Surya, she actually woke up and started to bark. That should be all 12 bears done.
Congratulations.
Yes.
They came reluctantly, but they made it. Bears learning to be bears again.
Last month, a wild bear came in.
How amazing that there is a wild bear here.
There are at least 3 different wild bears still live in this forest. And they may be the last 3 bears here.
Do we have a better idea how many are left?
We still do not know, and I don't think we will know for the next several years because the numbers of researchers are actually very, very few people.
Wong was pretty much a one-man band when we met him. The original bear-moving drama couldn't even rouse interest enough for a byline in a local newspaper. Things are on the up, but research is still incredibly underfunded.
Just now I had one of the bears napping on the tree over there. So if you come down already.
3 years ago, only one bear plucked up the courage to leave her cage and enter the forest. This was to be the moment where we got to see her climb. But that is a sight we will never see. We spare a thought for Surya, the littlest of the bears, ostracized, attacked, and badly wounded. But the only one game enough to take her freedom.
Hey, you went outside. You're the bravest little bear. No one else did. Everyone else got the chance. Nobody did. You did.
The star of our big dream, Little Bears, has died. We console ourselves knowing she died while free in a forest and not in a dreadful little cage.
So, next,
Oh, sorry.
next bear.
You know. Yeah, last year I came back and then see the bears in this panty for the first time. I cried.
Well, when I saw them, I started tearing up too.
Yeah.
Yes, work a long time for this.
This time I share the tears. It's an amazing and deeply touching sight to see these bears, animals that have been orphaned, abused, and imprisoned in dirty, tiny cages, now roaming freely in the forest.
Need a deep breath. Need some joke.
We'd like to see them climb, but this is the dream realized before our eyes.
Okay, I'm fine.
A lot of sacrifice in 10 years.
Yeah.
You got here?
The final stage is release into the wild. But where? Little point relocating a bear into a forest earmarked for demolition, or freeing one into a depleted jungle, only to see it starve to death. Pointless to release a novice into an abundant forest, where a dominant bear would kill them on sight. Before any relocation, they'll need research. For that, we have to leave Sepilok and head off into the jungle. Little did we know, our problems financing a film on this tiny unknown bear would come to mirror Wong's own. The center is incomplete, but the bears are roaming free in the forest. The film too has been released. In a few weeks, we'll all travel together to KL, to what is symbolically a very significant screening in Malaysia's capital. In the meantime, we've jumped at an invitation from Dr. Benoit Goossens to spend a week at the Danau Girang Field Center, 90 kilometers up the Kinabatangan. Here we'll have the opportunity to meet Roshan Guharajan and get a first-hand look at research on wild sun bears in an open forest. Palm oil, right down to the river. Further up and habitat begins to take over. Animals appear like magic. The gate's been triggered on a huge croc cage, so we pull in to check if anything is inside. Biawaks, monitor lizards the size of a grown man, have set it off. DG is part scientific research center, part university, and part boot camp for the next generation of young scientists. We've come to find sun bears, but we've hardly arrived when all hell breaks loose.
The first night we arrived, it was amazing. We were tired from the journey, and suddenly we heard this buzz in the center. Rudy had just returned with photos of a clouded leopard kill. This is really, really unusual.
Okay, so around, I don't know, I guess about 8 o'clock. Typical night, sitting in here, an evening in Danau Gerang, we're all just finished our meal, just chatting. And then in comes Budin and Rudy, big smiles on their face, running at us with their SLR cameras. They've just seen a clouded leopard. When they've been going down the river, they've spotted a clouded leopard. They've moved in and they've witnessed something which is pretty cool. They've actually witnessed it take a long-tailed macaque and kill it right in front of their eyes.
But this is just a surprise, because we were on the boat with Budin, my guide, and we saw the eye shine, and then we saw, it's quite big. And it went into the forest, and we thought we have to go also inside. And I was just shocked a little bit, because first we saw a clouded leopard, and then we saw it has a macaque in its mouth.
So this macaque's probably about 4 kilos. Boom, quick kill. They've taken a lot of photos, they hung around for a while, the clouded leopard has moved around, it's gone up and down a tree.
When I first saw the clouded leopard, I was shaking a little bit, and I wanted to take a picture, but it's quite, you have to be fast. But luckily there is some vibration reduction on my...
They've got back in the boat, come back here, told us about it.
The leopard dropped his spray and he went away, and we lost it. When we turned around, Budin saw the clouded leopard in the tree, about 3 meters high, and we just passed that tree. So it was very close to us, and we didn't notice it. So
Andrew's ears prick up on hearing the leopard dropped its kill. If we can find the monkey, he might have a tiny window to set up a camera trap before she returns.
We're absolutely crazy, we're like going mad, we want to put a camera trap out.
Andy he was very pleased with the picture, because he put before camera traps around here, and there were no pictures of clouded leopard. It's the first time that they see pictures of the clouded leopard in this site.
It's late. We'll need to organize a boat, and Budin will have to turn around again and somehow find his way back to the very same spot in the dark.
So we jump in the boat, race down. Hopefully this is the prey animal that's been left behind. The idea is that we can go and put a camera trap out and try and record the clouded leopard coming back.
The next thing you know, we were out on a boat in the middle of the night with a full moon, hoping to see this clouded leopard feed on the macaque.
Budin's sure he's found the spot where the leopard ran into the jungle. But incredibly, there's another research group darting proboscis monkeys only a short distance away. We can't disturb the area until they're finished.
It turns out it was right by where the proboscis monkey team are trying to immobilize the proboscis monkey. So we're sat there in the shallows just trying to be quiet, waiting to get the go-ahead, because literally it was about 100 meters away from where this team are actually trying to immobilize this thing. So we sat there waiting, no idea whether or not this clouded leopard has been and gone.
We wait on the opposite side of the river. Time has to be running out.
So then finally we get on the radio, boom, go ahead, you can move in.
We get the go-ahead. But we know, wherever you find a tree full of monkeys, you're sure to find a river full of crocs.
So we pull in, everyone's quiet, we all jump off the boat.
We climb a steep bank of slippery mud. Inside the canopy, the moon vanishes. Flashlights feel like a very primitive tool in the pitch black. Finding a little dead monkey in here seems like a very outside chance indeed.
So at the moment we're just at the very start. We've basically been here 1 week. We're at the very start of a new project in which we're trying to live trap and put radio collars on the clouded leopards. So Fernando and Crystal, they're actually managing a clouded leopard breeding program. Fernando's a vet. They come over especially for this.
There's a strong probability the leopard has already come back and taken the macaque away. Equally, she may have been frightened off. We're gambling on an outside chance she'll give us exactly the time we need to set the camera trap and then obligingly return. First, we have to find the monkey.
And there we go, Boudin's found it. There on the ground is this long-tailed macaque. We have a quick look. You can see the puncture wounds, which is what we think is probably typical of clouded leopard, the way they kill. They sever the spine at the neck there. Other cats, you know, sometimes they have to kill with a suffocating bite, and that can go on for half an hour, even an hour at times. But this thing, I mean, they got these huge, huge green eyes. It's just severed the spine. Can't imagine it was much fun for the monkey, but I imagine it would happen pretty quickly. Probably, you know, no suffering. It looks like it's a female clouded leopard from the pictures. So they're going to be around sort of 12, 13, 14 kilos, probably. We don't actually know. Here on Borneo, the data is so sparse.
With data so sparse, this is a big opportunity. A little bit of luck, and Andrew may get some of the very first pictures of a Bornean clouded leopard and its prey.
So, absolutely blown away. Set up this camera trap, take some photos of the animal, check that everything's all good, and then we want to move away from the scene and hopefully they come back. Big smiles on our face, back to Dan again.
Research into Borneo wildlife seems to be in its infancy. It's remarkable how little research has been done. These guys are starting from scratch. Observing a clouded leopard at a kill is really rare. Andy has been studying clouded leopards for years and he has never seen a kill.
We'll see you in a couple days.
See you again.
Andy then had to go away after waiting so many years. So he had to wait before he could come back and check the camera trap.
At this stage, we've only been at DG for one night. We arrived at dusk and arose at 5 a.m. to see Andy and the team off. Now we get a chance to look around. The huts are spread over about a half kilometer of path. One motor scooter, a few families to keep the place going and guide the scientists. With 4 hours of electricity in the morning and 4 between 6 and 10, you hear the generator stop. The lights flicker to total black, The fan slowly spins to a standstill in the darkness. Then the damp, humid heat of the night takes over. Now the clouded leopard excitement has subsided, we can turn our attention back to sun bears.
So that's why research is important, to be able to say these species need this much, clouded leopards need this much, sun bears need this much.
Roshan studied with Wong before venturing up the Kinabatangan. He's even using Wong's first successful bear trap for good luck.
The first bear Wong caught was using this big culvert trap that we just put out yesterday. Hopefully we'll get our first bear. So I'm just beginning my master's research here. We just want to see how the bears use riverine corridors that border plantations. What do they eat? Is it primarily fruits or insects? And how much they use plantations as a food source? That's really the interesting part of it. We just want to see forested versus plantation, close to humans versus more isolated.
Okay, so right now the stage you're in is camera trapping and finding out where they are?
Currently we're kind of doing a reconnaissance, if you will, like trying to see where the bears are, and then we'll deploy our traps subsequently. So we leave the camera traps and we have bait and we tie on trees. Chicken guts and pig guts. The smellier the better.
63.
Mana kita ikat sebelah mana? Looks like monitor.
Oh.
Biawak.
So biawak yang besar. Bait di mana? Oh. 63 shots. We put a bait up that tree. The bait is gone. There's some claw marks, but it's hard to tell the difference between monitor lizard and sun bear.
Mustahil dia ambil. Kalau dia putus saja saya rasa biawak.
From the tracks here, they're pretty sure it was monitor lizard, but they don't know what took the bait, because the bait was a big leg of a pig.
Very little research has been done even on the river itself. The Great Kinabatangan River.
So that's the bait up there. That's pig intestine, and the camera trap is up there.
Shan, dua aja gambar.
Only 2 shots. It could be 2 sun bears.
This was all monitor lizard from before.
Oh,
And they normally get there first because they're not as afraid. They just
all right.
Things have turned full circle. Where once the high level of intelligence and education needed to live and prosper amongst the intricacies of a jungle were given little to no status.
Claw mark there.
ini landak doang, apalagi yang akan buat macam ini. Tidak.
Now highly educated scientists are keen to place themselves under the tutelage of these knowledgeable guides.
Nothing much really. Hopefully the bait station has more stuff. This is the last one. We just have 3 that we rotate between bait stations. So sometimes we get something but we don't have a camera there, so we just have to play guessing.
It's constantly astonishing how little is known about Borneo.
There, and one down there. We're not even completely sure of a sun bear's diet as yet.
Knowing when the bulldozers clear these forests for agriculture, not a bird, not a worm, an elephant, bear, or a single blade of grass remains. The music of the forest, lost for generations to come.
Any estimates on how many sun bears there are?
Couldn't say really, to be honest. Hopefully we'll find something when we do our trapping, you know, like how many are in an area individually. The biggest question is how big the home range is for each animal. That way we can roughly see, like, okay, based on the amount of forest we have, how many males, how many females.
Once you've estimated the home range,
My aim would be like to share it as much as possible with plantations. Try and minimize the conflict there between plantation workers and sun bears, you know. Protect both parties, if you will.
all these different biologists are working on all the different species, but the solution is the same for every single one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Habitat.
Habitat conservation.
We're in a gigantic unexplored world that is disappearing before we even have time to know what's here.
Is there any successful model of reducing conflict between humans and bears?
They're very forest dependent, I'm sure you guys know. If you take that away, habitat resources, food resources become very scarce.
Oh!
And that's when you have problem bears going into agricultural areas, plantations, raiding people's kitchens sometimes. I think it's something that the solution isn't very clear-cut. You just have to keep trying and keep looking for ways to minimize the conflict.
Seems like if you're looking for a species to research, the biawak might be the obvious choice.
What's that one?
Squirrel.
There we go.
Now, we're worried Andrew's much anticipated clouded leopard photos will end up being a huge biawak instead.
I sent Wong an email, just telling him we've only had monitor lizards, and he told me the first thing he said was, don't be disappointed,
Yeah.
You just have to keep trying, Was with him for a year at Sepilok. I learned a lot about sun bears, and I'm really glad I have that experience coming in. It's really encouraging to hear that from him, so I don't get too disappointed.
How did you find yourself in the jungle?
First time in the jungle was, really a shock, just like, even just keeping my balance was tough, and then the humidity, the insects. There are sometimes when you do feel like, why am I here? But I think it's the joy you get from it, and the passion the fulfillment of that is the thing that trumps everything else.
The dung on the path right outside the huts is evidence foraging pygmy elephants use it as a through road before being swallowed up by the jungle again. Michael has offered to guide us along the jungle track that leads directly off the path.
There you often see footprints and piles of dung all along the trails. Didn't expect it to be this boggy. We've been walking through really thick bush and we found elephant footprints, and you just wonder how they get through it. They just plough their way through, and they want to go anywhere, they go there.
They're looking for elephant hairs.
Oh, look at that. You got him?
Who needs to go in the forest walk? It all comes to you.
Oh my God. Oh,
No, they're so hard to spot. What is it, a nun? I think you'd want to eat that.
it's funny, the light changes and you can't see a thing.
The only reason I saw it was because it moved.
Yeah. Look at this one. Oh.
Yeah, there's another one over here then. Would have definitely been a herd moving through here. It's likely to be the herd that comes round and terrorises the jetty and with the new babies. And
Did I ask you, have you come across any of the elephants before?
the first day I actually arrived, they told us to get straight back to camp because the elephants were close, and then that night they chased the staff, completely destroyed one of our dinghies. They just pick everything up and play with it. They destroyed a lot of stuff. I've seen them from the boat, but I don't think I'd want to come face to face with an elephant in the forest. Recently, a vet got killed at one of the close-by parks.
A young Australian vet with a dream of working in wildlife protection and only 1 week away from her graduation was killed by a lone male pygmy elephant. It's a tragedy that resonates particularly strongly with these young scientists. It's a powerful reminder around any little corner can be a very big surprise.
No, be careful with this branch because it's covered in ants. Come this way. They're the biggest butterflies I see here.
It's beautiful.
Called forest nymph.
In here, the problems facing Andrew and Roshan are writ large. This jungle can so easily hide a bear, or a leopard, or conceal an elephant standing only a couple of meters away. But it's far from empty here. Lift a rock, turn a leaf, or zoom into a shaft of light. Life appears. Big, little, all shapes and sizes.
Come this side.
Life is everywhere.
I think there's another one on a tree over there as well.
Wow, this is quite the tower.
It's quite impressive, isn't it?
It's very impressive. Wow.
But you usually see something in the canopy. Oh, giant squirrel. He's coming down now.
On this one walk, we stood in the tracks of a pygmy elephant, the smallest species of the world's largest land animal. We've seen the smallest eagle hawk on Earth, watching a tiny pygmy squirrel. We're by a river filled with the world's largest species of croc, in the jungle home of the world's smallest bear. And now we're witnessing a giant squirrel eating the bark of the oldest rainforest on the planet.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
You would think, like Australia's Great Barrier Reef, this is a place worth saving. But like the Great Barrier Reef, Borneo's great forests are disappearing piece by piece.
How many kids can you get on a bike? There's got 5 on there.
Bagaimana?
Sun goes down, the lights come up. Time to take advantage of the short burst of electricity. Michael's looking for microscopic life in a river full of monster crocs.
So I've just finished my second year at Cardiff University, and now I'm on a placement year out here in Borneo to potentially see the effect of oil palm on parasite communities on freshwater fish.
We'll know if Andrew has found a leopard in a day or two, but Michael will have to carry bottles of kinabatangan all the way back to Wales before he knows what he's got.
It's a lot of exploratory work really, because there's not been much done on the river at all. There's always a lot going on here. My second day I was out helping other PhD students here. I haven't caught any crocs yet, but I've been out looking for nests, so I'm dreading the day I come face to face with an angry mum if I do find a nest. That's one of the more exciting projects. It has an aspect of danger to it, I guess, which makes it even more exciting. Massive crocs, yeah. All along the river as well. That's probably the most animal I'm scared of here. This year is incredible opportunity for me, really. So I'll grasp every moment of it.
Many eminent scientists would be happy to contribute a footnote to their field of study. Here, an undergraduate can get to write the first book. On this morning, with all the scientists away, Mother Orangutan decides it's high time to give her little boy a close-up look at the little humans. The children aren't used to being this near to a great ape, so they drag me along as a surrogate big human. Everyone's a bit shy to begin with. No matter where Mom takes him, he finds a way to twist himself around to watch his playmates. With orangutan numbers plummeting, it's a pity all children can't have the opportunity to share the gaze of a pair of thoughtful eyes and to play with children of our close cousin in the wild. I wonder what sort of kinabatangan these newfound friends will inherit. And hope this little guy will survive to spawn the next generation of orangutans for all our sakes.
After days away, Andy returned, and before he even arrived at the field center, he got Budin to take him to the site. They retrieved the card from the camera trap, brought it back home.
The moment of truth arrives. Will Andrew have a first in clouded leopard research, or selfies of an unlucky monkey at a biawak picnic?
Let's try 125. I've always just liked all wildlife, or even plants, and you just follow your route through. I'd have been happy to study badgers in the UK, but yeah, always wanted to get out and see the rainforest. You see these documentaries as you grow up, and you want to see these places. So that's why I came out originally and did some volunteer work. Started working with orangutan, doing surveys, and then one day I saw an incredibly rare cat, a bay cat. Found out that absolutely nothing was known about it. One thing led to another, 5 species of wildcat here on Borneo, and nothing was being done on them. So it's just a matter of, yeah, let's do it. 9:49. So this is us setting the camera up. So that's the monkey there. Look at that. So we're leaving at 9:51. And then still there. Okay. 9:50. There you go. So that's really exciting. And in fact, this is the first time we've recorded a clouded leopard from this block of forest. 11:18 p.m. Perfect team. It made sense that she'd come back, right? She's just made this kill, and then she's been disturbed. Well, we were certainly hoping within a minute she'd taken the animal and moved away. So she's returned the next following evening, which is strange. It's a female, so she could potentially be, she might have some cubs in the area. All we can do is guess. So she's just moving around the area, right? 3 a.m. She's moving through again.
How strange is that?
That's unusual. I mean, that's over several days now, isn't it? 2 hours later, this guy comes along. You can smell the clouded leopard. I think this guy's a bit too much for her, though.
What a way to kick off your project.
The theory is that on Borneo, because they don't have these other competitors, they can take the larger prey that enabled them to take a larger body form. However, it's unproven. We have almost no information about the morphology of these animals. There's very few recorded weights in the wild.
How the animals behave in the wild for us is really important.
When you're moving up and down these rivers, that's when you're going to see things. You see the primates coming down to the river. If you're lucky enough, like Budin, they get the clouded leopard moving along. But that's a real rarity. It's hard work doing research, it's hard work filming. You've really got to put the work in to see the animals.
Hard work, filming, researching. Wong put 6 years into the forest with hardly a glimpse of a bear, accidentally catching the very first clouded leopard. Time to go and pick him up on our way to screen a film on sun bears in mainland Malaysia. Long journeys lay ahead for all. Future generations will certainly look back upon us as a people so immersed in the pursuit of wealth as to be blind to higher considerations. They will charge us with having culpably allowed the destruction of some of those records of creation which we had it in our power to preserve. seeing many of them perish irrecoverably from the face of the earth, uncared for and unknown. 15 years ago, the sight of bears trapped in cages inspired Wong to dream of a way to free them. Now these bars are simply a gateway into the safety of Sepilok Forest.
Sun bears are such a rare animal in the forest, and it's all happened right in front of our eyes. That scene was, for me as a field biologist, is $1 million scene. I spent so much time trying to see bears do this, and not successful. Only on a few occasions I managed to see that for like few seconds, and then the bear, boom, gone. There's a lot of leeches that I suffer. I don't know how many, but a lot.
In the bigger scheme of things, it's not that important. We personally witnessed one of these bears actually climb a tree. But we've waited years for it, and it would be nice to have closure. Wong's had enough. He uses a pole to spread a small smear of honey. The bears couldn't care less. A raindrop. Another. A group of sleepy bears start to come to life. Come on. Fresh rain is doing the trick. It's hard to believe how rare this sight once was. Watching them climb so effortlessly, you see how strong these animals are. So powerful and yet with such sensitive natures. It takes them a long time to get over the torments of their past. Some never will. Wallace and Darwin spoke of natural selection. Now the survival of wild species relies on those the human species selects.
So this part of the dream has been achieved. They're out.
Yeah, they're out.
So what's the next stage?
The next stage is the reintroduction. They are a bear, they're born to be wild. The forest needs the bear. Taking out this bear from the forest is very wrong. Killing the bears is very wrong. So hopefully the process can be reversed. We're slowly moving forward, but when we open to the public, we will be having a big step ahead. One little dot in the middle of where it's still pool, and then the ripple all brings up.
I think you guys are making headway. I think all the attention you're getting now, all the publicity, and then the film.
Yeah, and then the film. I think it is long due, for
so.
this kind of publicity. And thanks to you and Howard to make this possible. Yeah, I still talk about it, how we first know each other. I was in the States, and then you sent me an email, you asked me, how can you help? I said, well, make a film out of it. And he said, oh, Howard is a filmmaker, maybe he can help. There you go, after so many years. So that is good. That is a very, very good example that I always tell people, do what you do best to help us. Many Malaysians, majority of the Malaysians do not know there's a bear called sun bear. We should be proud of our bear because this species live in our forest, carry the name of our country, Kila Sun Arctos Bear Malayanus, Malayan sun bear. I need to let them know the importance of the bear, the importance of the forest, and how much we need each other to survive. Not our generation, but the future and the many future generations to come.
Wong believes, build it and the people will come. We hope he's right. Our little film, following Wong's big dream, is but a tiny seed cast on a huge urban jungle. But all these individual efforts, Wong's, our own, the festival, help shed rays of light. And like so many seeds on the jungle floor, perhaps it may have a chance to grow.
Thank you, Grandma. Exciting, right? When we talk about Vision 2020, the goal of having Malaysia become a fully developed nation, when we think of the idea of development, we're talking about skyscrapers, shopping malls, office buildings. In the middle of brick fields here in Kuala Lumpur, you feel a very, very long distance away from Sabah and Sarawak. People in KL don't really have much of a sense of East Malaysia, if they think of it at all. Even though it's only about 2.5 hours away from Sabah and Sarawak, the psychological distance is huge. If they do think of it, they see it as being undeveloped, and by that they mean jungle. And jungle has negative connotations.
But seemingly unnoticed, this war against the forest was won long ago. Now, the present generation from both East and West are racing against time to, if not save the entire jungle, at least chronicle and retain enough for another generation at another time in the future. And to finish with some much needed words of hope, Wong's funds did come through, the center was built, and the people did come. 47,000 of them in the first 12 months. And if you look up, high into the canopy, most days you'll find the treetops here are filled with little bears.